So, I guess you could say that if Cyndi Lauper's Girls Just Want to Have Fun music video had been directed by Rob Zombie, it might look something a little bit kind of close to Killher. I don't know if I'm saying that. Killher, the new campy slasher film coming to select theaters and digital platforms October 20th from Dark Sky Films. Welcome to the Scare Guy Show. This is a presentation of thescareguy.com, the spookier side of the con guy, where we celebrate everything that's scary fun from a filmmaker's perspective. My name is Jim Fry. I'm a screenwriter here in Los Angeles and one of your horror hosts. And my partner in crime,
Cheeseman here, also a screenwriter and one of the Scare Guys.
All right, we have some special guests. I'll introduce them in just a second, but let me kind of give you a little backstory. Here's what the film's about. Mattie and her three best friends, I think it's Edie, Jess, and Ray, head into the woods for a weekend to plan Mattie's upcoming wedding and bachelorette party, but with zero cell phone reception and only a literal pot to piss in, their weekend camping trip is beginning to look like a bad idea for these unhappy campers. It only gets worse when people start to die and a terrible secret is revealed. All these girls wanted was a killer pre-bachelorette party, and that's exactly what they got. This week, we are talking with the writer of Killher, Tom Kiesche. Did I get that last name correct, Tom?
You got it. You nailed it.
All right, and the director of this film, Robyn August. Guys, thank you so much for being on the Scare Guy Show this week with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And Robyn, you're coming to us from you're out here in Los Angeles quite a bit, but you're you're here in Los Angeles now and saying
right now, yeah. I'm on a shootout here, headed back to Arizona. I'm currently in Prescott Valley for the time being.
Oh, you're on another shoot. We'll talk about that in just a second. But listen, four best friends head out to the woods for a seemingly innocent camping trip, and slashing and killing ensues. This sounds like the premise of many a great horror film. I want to ask you guys right now, where did this particular idea for this script come from? Maybe, Tom, this is more you.
Sure. Yeah.
Kind of what sets this apart from those other young, sexy people in the woods getting slashed up films? All right.
Totally. So
go ahead, Tom.
I'll try to keep it short, but in 2021, there was COVID happening in the world. And I literally almost died in the hospital while having my hip replaced because nothing.
Oh, no, that's terrible.
Yeah, but I decided I wanted to make a movie and nothing was going to stop me. And I talked to a friend of mine who recommended Liam Finn for the line producing job. And Liam gave me parameters to what movie I could afford if I were to do it myself. And one of those things was to write it outside. Another thing was to write in the horror film genre. And another thing was to keep the cast small. So I fulfilled those parameters, and we started the process of moving this forward, and then people came on board. What makes it different is I'm not necessarily a horror person. I am not a genre person. I am a story person. Yeah. So after I wrote the movie, people who are genre people and horror people said, oh, you should watch this movie. You should watch this movie. You should watch this movie. But I had already written the script from a story point of view. So that's what makes it much different than a lot of the slasher horror camping movies out there. I hope that hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. Robyn, what about you? What sets this movie apart for you? And then I'm going to pitch it over to Luke.
Well, I mean, for me, it was a real joy because, I am kind of an 80s kid, little kid, but I lived in the 80s at some point. And so when I read the script, it just brought back, I'm a huge horror fan. So it brought back a lot of those camping, slasher movies for me. So when I read it, I had a lot of fun, and the 90s. So I had there's Scream in there, and it's just a lot of stuff that he wrote in there that really kind of spoke to me as a fan, because it reminded me of a lot of the films that I saw growing up, like a mashup of a lot of those. So that excited me.
Nice.
Awesome. So yeah, tell us a little bit about the pre-production, like finding the location and just, casting.
So I'll take this part of it anyway. So I was moving forward with the project with Liam, and then a producer by the name of Ron Roger asked me if I had a script. He told me about Robyn and how talented Robyn was, and then he met some people that wanted to be executive producers on a lower budget film. And so Ron put us all together. They took over the project as investors and as executive producers. Still had to find a location that was affordable. One thing Liam said to me after I gave him the script, he says, "Yeah, you did all the parameters, but where are you going to shoot a forest in Los Angeles for cheap?" Thought about it. So put on the producer hat and went out and looked at locations all over the place within 2 hours of here. Some volunteer work that I did with an organization in the past paid off with a camp, and they got back to us with a really great price up in the Big Bear Mountain area, and we shot there. And as far as casting, I'll let Robyn take that over.
Cool. By the way, before that, for people who might be watching, Big Bear is a giant wooded mountainous area just north of Los Angeles. It's a great location for films like this. Very, very way out in the woods. You're completely remote. So a great location.
Yeah.
Robyn, about the casting then. Yeah.
Yeah. What's specific about casting was the question again?
The process of it,
Yeah.
like what you're looking for and who you decided.
How'd you get these especially your four main actors?
Yeah, I mean, well, at least for me, when we came in, we all knew obviously we wanted to get a great cast. So we got a great casting director through, I believe was it through you, Tom, or
no? That was through Ron too. Iris
Ron,
Hampton.
okay, yeah, Iris Hampton is amazing. A lot of great connections, and we knew that we could have went the route of maybe having the cast all kind of fit within a certain age group. We decided to go a little bit on the younger side, just to keep it fresh and fun. And plus, you don't see too many movies. Maybe it's a thing of today's society that I guess a lot of people aren't getting married that young anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it still happens. So I thought it'd be kind of a fun thing to show, like maybe someone that was still young getting married, and kind of the innocence of that. So we started kind of looking for more of a younger age group. And once we did that, we just, we found some there were so many actors that were just amazing. It was actually really hard to choose, but there was a few that once they came in, some that on their very first audition was like, that's Eddie, like it's done, or some where like it was between a few, and then we decided that just the charisma that was happening between the actors just flowed. So we would get like groups together, have them, change out roles and try different things. And then that's when we really got, a solid group where like, this feels like there's chemistry here. We wanted to feel like they really were friends. And the funny thing is that after the shoot, I almost immediately, I felt, they really did. They still hang out. They're still friends. So I think it really, you see it on the screen that it feels genuine. So that was really the magic of what Iris and all of us kind of did combine together to try to create this little squad, and I think it turned out really great. I'm very happy with our casting.
Yeah, if I can just add to the casting. So Jenna was a student of a school that I was doing acting teaching at. That's how she came to us. MC came to us through Iris Hampton. None of us knew her. She knocked it out of the park. Emily Hall came to us through Iris Hampton through rock star agents, like top of the line agents. Nicole came to us through Ron again, and she did one of the parts during the initial reads for the script, just to hear it out loud. And we saw all those people again for roles, but she's the one that fit the cast. Harrison White, who plays one of the characters, a big fun character in there, I had done a reading with in the past and was like, I'm going to work with you at some point.
He was probably one of your most fun characters, that's for sure.
He's the best.
Hilarious. So that role, I wrote that to be stunt cast with a celebrity.
Yep.
And then we just didn't have the money or the desire to deal with all the hoops we had to go through. And he was better than any celebrity we could have got, in my opinion.
And also, I think, when we first read it, in our minds, we went right straight to the you know, the guy with no teeth up in the woods, like, you kids got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And I think when Harrison had his own take on this, and it was completely the opposite, everyone was like, that's it. That's too good.
Well, and describe this character though. So because you did really go against type for like a crazy old coot up in the woods. This was different.
Yeah. Well, that's what the whole time I wanted story. I wanted story, and different. So some people who audition who are great actors just put on this accent and put on the dumb yokel. And I personally told everyone I knew who I had auditioned, be yourself, bring your authenticity to it. Because that's what I enjoy when I watch movies. I enjoy watching truth. And I thought Harrison was his authentic self, and he rocked it. So,
Cheeseman, did you have more questions about the production?
I'd like to talk about, you know, the stunts or special effects and all that. Like, how did you guys bring in a stunt person? Because there's a lot of, you know, shots like that, and there's even like a special effect with some raccoons. I was interested in how you pulled that off.
Yeah,
Okay,
I love your practical effects were pretty. And we'll just tell you guys, for horror fans, there's some pretty in your face gore in this movie.
I'll answer the stunt thing, and Robyn, you can answer all the other stuff. So because it was under the SAG agreement, we had to have a stunt coordinator, and a friend of mine, Devin McNair, came in, and she worked the stunts, and she was willing to go up to Big Bear, and she did a fabulous job. So, and the actresses and actors were all great about the stunts that we had to do. There were no injuries other than me running barefoot through the woods, which I didn't hear about. There was a thing called moleskin that you could put on the bottom of your feet to protect yourself from splinters until after I ran twice. But that's the stunts. And Robyn and Devin coordinated a lot of the stunts and came up with a thing. And I thought Robyn did an amazing thing. Whereas there's a fight at some point, and it was written out pretty explicit and pretty, you know, MMA kind of between two of the main characters. And we didn't have the time or budget to work all that out. We were run and gun. And Robyn came up with a solution that I think worked better. You see less, but you see more in your mind than you could ever see on that screen. So props to Robyn for that. I think you know what I'm talking about, Robyn. Yeah. So, and then Robyn will talk about the practicals, and he'll give credit to Kelton and Bailey, who were amazing and did amazing makeup effects. So go ahead, Robyn.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the practical effects, like I'm you know, like you guys too. As a horror fan, I think most horror fans, they really do appreciate the practical effects. So we knew that there was like some budget constraints, but we wanted to make sure that there definitely was like some key scenes that we had to do some practicals. It proved to be a little bit difficult because of the weather out there. Some of the things that we did ran into some hiccups. But once we, you know, kind of grinded and figured out how to make it happen, it went great. And that's kind of one of the things I love about working on film, especially indie film, is sometimes things happen and you have to swerve, and you can find some real kind of amazing moments out of that as well that you probably wouldn't have thought out premeditatively. So it was pretty cool that once we figured that out, and Kelton and Bailey were just amazing. Very small crew. So the day that we shot a lot of the practicals and the stunts, and it was the same day that we only had for Steadicam for like one day. We did 52 setups in a day, and that was insane. Wow. But it was so fun. It was like, it was one of the funnest days. It was one of the hardest days we've all worked, but we were having such a blast. It really did feel like, you know, in the middle of all of it, and you're panting and you're running from set to set, and you just had like this crazy blood effect with chainsaws and Steadicam shots, and you're like panting and sweating and just going, this is my job. Like, this is what I do for a living. This is amazing. So it was a lot of fun. And it's also a little bit of a accomplishment to say that we were able to pull that off, you know? So,
and then as far as what the weather is, it kind of rained. It definitely snowed,
hailed,
detailed. And we will tell you that fake blood will freeze below a certain temperature. And so that was part of Kelton and Bailey's gig, is keeping the fake blood at a certain temperature. And then there's certain practical things that were built that we didn't realize that there might be frozen blood in it. So,
and another thing we learned is there's a lot of amazing things that you can do with just a water bottle. Just a plain old water bottle.
Yep.
Let me ask you this, just for folks who may not have an idea of what the film's about. Could you guys give us an idea of like the idea and the premise of this film? And again, without giving away too much, kind of tell us what is the film about, so folks will know what to expect.
Robyn, you want to do that one, or you?
I think you do a better job of this, Tom. I mean, you wrote it. I'll give my thoughts. I'll weigh my thoughts afterwards.
So let me put it, after we had a premiere at Screamfest 22, we had a lot of non-horror film people coming up to us saying how much they loved the film. And we had a lot of people coming up to us who were horror people saying they loved the film, and they loved it because it was different and it mixed a lot of things and it was unpredictable. The only people that I heard that weren't super crazy on it were people who were going to see a slasher movie and wanted to see, a kill at this time, these people dead, this result. Like, they wanted to see a movie they've seen 100 times. So the goal, again, from the beginning, was to tell a good story. And I think the story is a lot about friendship and betrayal and comeuppance. And it's, you read the slug line or the quick summary, but it's about a couple women going to have a good time in the forest, and they kind of get mixed up into something that they don't realize what they got mixed up in. And it's not quite what the audience might think it is. Yeah. So I think that's what it is. And even if you figure it out, quote unquote, I think you're still surprised. And I think it's designed from the very beginning. It was designed to be a roller coaster ride. And in one of our readings with some actors at the very beginning, everybody had an idea of how they wanted it to go. And, I was very much like, look, it can go all those ways. And so I literally wrote 5 different endings and had a script that had ending A, B, C, D, and E. And I gave it to the producers, and it's like, pick one. And they all picked the roller coaster ending that we had from the beginning. Things changed, but it's just designed to be fun. And in the audiences we've seen it in front of, Robyn, you've seen 4, right? I think I've seen 3 audiences. People literally cheer at the end, or have cheered at the end, and are laughing. And it's a horror film, but people come out in a really good mood. So that's what we intended. That's what it was all along. And I think Robyn added to all that. And it's just fun.
And I'm going to throw it over to Luke, but first, how would you describe it? Is it horror comedy? Is it campy? Is it not? Just give us an idea of.
So I'll answer, and then Rob can answer. I think it's more thriller than horror, because the executives wanted more whodunit than straight up. The first script was much more, you knew who it was from the beginning, and then it was all like, what's going to happen next? It's got horror, it's got gore, but it's at a level of like mainstream, I think. But it has all the goods. And then it's got comedy in it, but I don't think it's comedy for the sake of comedy. I think the comedy comes out of people being real and actually, like, you might react. I'm a big fan of Shaun of the Dead. I'm not a huge horror person, but there's a lot of horror movies I love, and Shaun of the Dead I love.
Yep.
It is funny, but I truly believe you watch it, and when they're picking the records out of the box and they're throwing it, I do believe there's somebody in the world who'd be like, no, don't throw that. You have all these other choices. Why throw that album? And that's what I find fun in comedy. I don't like the horror comedies that are, in my opinion, kind of just stupid and easy. I like the comedy that's earned, that comes out of character and story, and that's unexpected. That's what I like. So that's how I would call it: thriller, horror with a heavy comedy undertone. Robyn, would you agree? Or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm a fan of mashups. I don't really like. I know that you have to give an exact category, but even as a horror fan, I had to do this list. I believe, for Letterboxd of my favorite horror films, and it's so hard because, I mean, Shaun of the Dead is considered a horror, and that's like a straight up comedy with, you know, or with deeper elements. But then it's like The Exorcist, The Frighteners. It's like I have so many shades of horror that I love, and I like it when you mash those things up. And I think a lot of the new generation of horror fans are totally cool with that. I think that would have been a thing back in the day where it has to stick to this, and now people are more open to having a little bit of everything mixed into a film. I think it makes it more fun, especially nostalgia if it reminds them of certain different films. So I mean, I think I described this film as if Sam Raimi and Quentin Tarantino made a Goosebumps episode. I feel like that would be this movie.
That's hilarious.
At least that's what I was trying to. There's some of the stuff, especially the ending. I think whoever's gonna watch this movie, stick it to the end. Just watch it till the end. That's all I ask, because I think it really does pay off.
It keeps flowing and moving, and
yeah. And it's the worst when you see a movie where it starts off great and then it gets kind of boring in the middle, and then it just ends with no answers. And what? And this one is not that. I think that's why people are cheering. I knew going in after reading that script, going, this is going to be amazing, and I'm going to have a great ending. And as far as how they shoot it, and then and I knew it was going to be something that people would just cheer at, and it did, and it was really a good feeling to see that come into fruition. So
it's a roller coaster. It's clunk 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 clunk, and then
yeah, we had one reviewer that said, speaking of what you were saying, Tom, where it's like, I think he said, it's kind of predictable, but it's not, but then it is again, but then it's not again. It's like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because I think I mean, it's not like some crazy Saw puzzle, you know, but it will surprise you, and you'll think one way and then you'll be wrong. So yeah, it's definitely a roller coaster ride.
We've had people come to the Scream Fest first premiere. We sold out, so they gave us an encore. I think we were the only film to get an encore that year. People came back to that and told me it was better the second time, and if we had a third showing at Scream Fest, they would have come back again. And we had another showing at the Valley Film Festival a little while later, and there were some people there that had seen it twice already. And this is not just favors. This is people that really just enjoyed it because it was different and fun.
Yeah, I think fun. I mean, that's a perfect example, especially coming out of the pandemic. We talked about, we're still kind of in it, but I had this feeling, and I think most of us felt that as well, is that it's been so heavy. Like the whole world has been so heavy. Every movie seems so dark. You know, you got the movies I love, Hereditary, Babadook, but these deeper social horror films are great, but it can't be all that. And I kind of missed the 80s campy, absurdist, like, I'm just having fun. I just want to see I just want to be on a ride, you know? And I think that's we were coming at it with that mentality. And I think now I'm seeing that it is becoming a new thing that people are enjoying. You know, I think more and more films are coming out that way. So that's pretty cool that there's more choices, you know, with your horror. So
hey, Luke, we are up against towards the end of our time here. If you want to, do you have I know. Hey, Luke, I'll let Luke go ahead and have our final question.
I just want to hear more about Tom's character he played. We didn't get too much into that, you know. So tell us about, you know, developing your character and your performance.
Whew. So I thought I was going to have to produce it out of my own bank account for much, much less money. And I knew that I'd have to do a lot of the producing. But I wanted to be an actor in it. I wanted to have fun. I enjoy it. I mean, being an actor on the set was the easiest time I had for the entire shoot. I was running around like a crazy person, doing art, doing grip work, gaffing, no matter, like, wherever needed help, I was helping.
Prop master too, weren't you the prop master?
I did props. I did the weapon stuff.
Weapons.
Yep. So I helped with every department, but when I got to act, I literally I could breathe and just be. And so when I wrote it, I kind of knew that because it's not my first film that I've ever made. So I kind of made other characters do the heavy lifting. and where we are in society. I wanted a female lead. So a lot of this is just, nuts and bolts stuff. But there's also a slight social commentary with the Mr. Rogers character. I don't know if you picked up on that. Kind of the dinosaur references that he doesn't quite know where he fits in the world. And the original title was called Mr. Rogers' Site of Horrors. And actually it was called Camp of Horrors. Mr. Rogers' Camp of Horrors at first. And the first two people that read the script said, it's too smart of a script to be called a camp. Because although there's some campy elements, maybe, it's much too smart for that. So it originally was more about him and his perspective, but I love the changes that we made as a team. I believe in collaboration. And but he's still trying to figure out his place in the world. And, he's come up against his own horror inside of someone else's horror. So there's these levels of subtlety in the movie that some audience pick up on and some don't, and it's fun either way. Hopefully,
well, appreciate it. We appreciate it very much. Listen, guys, we are up against our time. Real quick, Robyn first, and then Tom, tell us where people can find out about projects you're working on, any updates to the film, or anything that you would like for fans to know about.
Yeah, so I'm a lot on Instagram at Robyn of August, ROBYN of August, like the month. You can find me on there. I shoot a lot of short films and music videos, and working on like a little anthology series that I'm writing myself right now. That's kind of like an audio visual Twilight Zone kind of series. That's pretty cool. Hopefully some other feature films coming down the pipeline. Anybody out there, I need a director. But yeah, that's where you can find me. And I just want people to pre-order the film. It's coming out on the 20th. It's pre-order on iTunes right now. So if you could do that, Michael Tioli, the composer, did an amazing score. It just came out today. So you could listen to it for free on Spotify, iTunes.
It's good and creepy. He's
really talented. It was cool to do this kind of the Carpenter-esque 80s synth horror film vibe. So yeah, just
does it give you a vibe without really, completely like, sounding like something, but it
hit me in the head.
Yeah, I think when we talked about it, I said do something between like Carpenter and something that would be like in a Hitchcock film, and the orchestra mixed with that, and so he did a really cool job. And and just watch the movie. It's going to be out in the Laemmle. Go to the theater. If you're near the theater, please go see it in the theater. Support theaters. Can't say it enough. It's going to play at the Laemmle for a whole week, starting the 20th, and in Ohio. You can go to the I'm sorry?
Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, that's Ohio, where I'm from.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But you can find more information on Dark Skies website about all that.
And what about you, Tom?
So Instagram is my preferred social media. Tom Kiesche. It's just my name, simple and boring. You'll see a ton of dog videos there. I do a ton of volunteer with dogs, and I'm currently trying to raise money for my next feature, which is another horror. It's a slightly darker one with a social commentary that'll make a difference to a lot of animals' lives in the world. And that it's on GoFundMe, and it's called For Mr. Goo, FORMRGOO. And you can look at my Instagram. It's on my link tree there. And as far as where to see it, iTunes pre-order. It'll be on a lot of VOD platforms on the 20th, but the pre-orders will help us dramatically. And then the two theaters are the Laemmle Theater in Santa Monica. See it live if you can. It's so much fun with an audience. I promise you that. And it's also available in Columbus, Ohio. I forget the name of the theater, but again, like Robyn says, go to the Dark Sky page and type it in, or check out Robyn and I's Instagram, and you'll see posts about the film, and we'll have the details there.
Yeah, I can Luke and I watched it last night, and I can concur that this is a film that you need to watch in theaters. You need to get the crowd, jazzed up and screaming. I think it'll be a better experience if you guys have a chance to see it in theaters. See it there. Listen, I want to thank our guest today. First, the writer of Killher, Tom Kiesche. Thank you, Tom, for being with us. And
thank you.
You did a lot more than writing on this particular feature. And the director of the film, Robyn August. Remember, guys, Killher is in select theaters. He just told you, here in California, out in Columbus. and on digital platforms October 20th. It's from Dark Sky Films. My name is Jim Fry here at The Scare Guy. Watch us here each week. Also, thescareguy.com. And Cheeseman, take us out.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Cheese on Couch, and find us at thescareguy.com.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much.